It's another day, the sun is shining. Got to know what's going on around you. Wake up, it's the time to motivate your mind. Come with me, let's make this moment brighter. Wake up with the Bahamas at sunrise. Come on and wake up with the Bahamas at sunrise. Wake up with the Bahamas at sunrise. Wake up with the Bahamas at sunrise. Hey.
Good morning, happy Monday to you. Welcome to Bahamas at Sunrise. I'm Philip Simon.
I'm Gandhi Pinder filling in for Anastasia Palacios, who is just posting the most beautiful pictures. Oh, I am loving it. So top of the morning to you,
Top
Star.
of the morning, Star, and
Yeah,
Carlos, and Cruz, and Cairo. Listen,
Oh
you
my
guys,
goodness.
it's just beautiful, ain't it?
It's amazing. It's amazing. You know, I have to do my due where I share on Facebook that we are live on
We are
Bahamas at
live.
Sunrise.
We are live.
So like Bahamas at Sunrise and share this right now.
Okay, excellent. Listen, what an interesting weekend, right? So many things are happening. In fact, before we go any further, there's a whole slew of persons I want to say happy birthday to.
Oh, yeah.
Listen, the list is so long today. Tanika Cox, Keandra Gardner, looking really good, my
Oh.
dear. Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday.
Rochelle Ferguson also celebrates her birthday today. I have a cousin, Darren McKinsey.
Happy birthday
birthday.
to you.
Andre Cox, Carrie Sherman. I don't know if you know Carrie.
Yeah, I do actually. I do know Carrie.
Yes, Sharon Roll had a birthday yesterday. Shawanda Johnson, and then Gershon Major and Donovan Moxie. Would you believe two best friends have birthdays on the same day? I don't know what that
Your
means,
best
but
friends.
I did say that.
You know what? We need to ask Joan Aubrey or someone, Suzette, someone who could work it out. When we do our birthday shout outs in the morning, I think confetti should come down.
But you never know. You never know. But listen,
that'd
you
be
guys have a
amazing.
wonderful day. Those of you
Yes.
celebrating birthdays, and of course those of you who have lost loved ones, our condolences goes out to you as well.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So the announcement yesterday.
The announcement yesterday, everybody was waiting with bated breath to hear what the Prime Minister had to say.
Yeah.
So, of course, Freeport, Grand Bahama is on further lockdown, but we had about 50 new cases, 49 new cases since we opened our borders July 1st, which is a third of the cases. And so I'm just watching it. I'm seeing, I wonder what's going to happen to Nassau, but he said effective immediately, Bahamas Air, no more
Right.
international flights. That's understandable.
Right. I'm sure the information is out there. We don't have to kind of list it all here today on
Right.
Bahamas at Sunrise. There's a balance that obviously the government is trying to achieve.
Yes.
It's heavy. I certainly wouldn't want the shoes of the Prime Minister
Yeah.
or any competent authority making decisions right now. It's tough. It's rough.
It
And
is
I
rough.
feel for the businesses and the people whose lives are being impacted so severely during this time. As you know, it's
So NIV has run out.
what
I
do you
wonder
mean?
if they're going to start a new cycle because
Well,
it was
they must.
only.
I mean, they
Right.
were on the show last week. Of course, they extended it. But again, beyond NIB, beyond government, I think we all have a responsibility
do.
to each other to really take care as best as we can and be our brother's keeper.
But Phil, you forgetting one little part.
What's that?
Ranwood Wells is now the
New Minister of Health.
Minister of Health.
Yep. Travis Robinson.
Travis
is back as
Robinson
parliamentary
is
secretary.
reinstated,
Yeah.
and Dion. Well, I thought
Assumes more responsibility.
that was some hot tea, but anyway.
Listen, hey, a lot to talk about. We could spend all morning talking about it. But listen, today on Bahamas at Sunrise, we've got an all-star lineup.
We got an all-star.
I mean-
I saw some faces up there, and I was like, wow.
Yeah, I mean, start with Charles Seeley. He's the CEO of Doctors Hospital. He's also
Amazing.
District Governor, Rotary. I mean, I don't know how many more hats, Charles, you can put on. But
Seriously.
listen, so good to have you in the studio this morning. We're going to be talking with him. Primary hat, Doctors Hospital.
Yes. And also, now this is a tongue twister, okay? We have Dominic Petty, Director, Northern Bahamas, Cable Bahamas.
Yeah.
And
I think he's going to be speaking at Business Outlook.
He
right?
is.
This
He's
week,
speaking
yeah.
at the Business
Andros.
Outlook, yes. And we have an update on COVID-19. We're going to let you know what's happening with that. So it's a great show. It's a great lineup. Bahamas at Sunrise is always so
Yeah, Dr.
informative.
Pinto's back, of course.
Dr. Pinto,
The good
yes.
doctor is back.
The
Tell
doc
you,
is in
never
the
a dull
house.
moment.
So yeah, man, Phil. But this morning, my alarm went off, and you know I'm a snoozer, right? So I pressed snooze, but you know what?
Never press snooze.
You know, but you know what is that thunder and lightning that lit up my bedroom, and I said, okay, let me get it together.
Yeah.
Because with that thunder, you can't continue to press snooze.
No.
That's a snooze killer.
And it's still out there. I mean, the weather's just been, I don't know, but
it's good weather.
We've got.
I like this weather.
We've got the man himself, Godfrey Burnside, who's
Godfrey
going to tell us
Burnside
what
likes
this is
the
all
weather.
about with our first look at weather at sunrise. The G-Man.
Weather at sunrise, brought to you by Bahamas First in insurance, today, tomorrow.
Thank you, Phil, and good morning, Bahamas. And your first look at weather at sunrise. We got a tropical wave moving through the central Bahamas. We have some troughing over the islands. And all that means that we have a whole lot of cloudiness with some showers, but there will be some breaks during the daytime as that system moves towards the west in the Gulf of Mexico sometime by tomorrow. Today, though, we're looking at variable cloudiness with occasional cloudy periods with scattered showers, isolated thunderstorms, one or two maybe heavier times, one or two maybe still thunderstorms away at times, and will be causing flooding in low-lying areas. Your high temperature 91 degrees Fahrenheit, feel like about 103. Tonight, partly cloudy to cloudy skies again with scattered showers, isolated thunderstorms, coming heavier times. Your low temperature going down to 78 degrees Fahrenheit. And some regional highs and lows across the Caribbean, Barbados 83 and 78. In Jamaica 84 and 73. In Trinidad 85 and 76. And the Turks and Caicos Islands 91 and 79. Across North America, Atlanta 91 and 75. In Raleigh 93 and 74. In Miami 91 and 79. In Dallas, Texas 94 and 78. And Toronto, Canada 83 and 71. As we go through the week, we're looking at the same conditions, partly cloudy to cloudy, with some showers and thunderstorms becoming heavier at times. We're also watching another tropical wave and some troughing still moving across the islands by late Wednesday into Thursday, and that'll cause some more showers going into the weekend, though temperature daytime will be in the lower 90s, at nighttime, upper 70s. That's what you're up in your first look at weather at sunrise. I'm Godfrey Burnside. Back to you, Phil.
Thank you very much, Godfrey. Listen, I am so excited this morning. We have the man himself wearing so many hats. This morning we're going to be talking about the primary hat, which of course is the CEO of Doctors Hospital, but he also happens to have recently acquired another big, I don't even want to call that a cowboy hat, but district governor for Rotary Caribbean. I almost said the Honorable Charles Seeley, but listen, my good friend Charles, welcome back to Bahamas at Sunrise. It's been a long time. I'm happy to have you here talking about Doctors Hospital in particular. So many things are happening, man. Congratulations, I should say. Congratulations. You guys have made the adjustment. It's still tough. You know, we've obviously, all of us are making, I call it amendments to our structure. But listen, welcome back. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Morning.
Yeah,
It's
thank you so much.
It's great to be here.
You know, let's talk a little bit about Doctors Hospital and where you are right now in the midst of, obviously, a pandemic of, certainly of our lifetime. What is the atmosphere? You know, obviously it's a live, like they say, a live circumstance, but how are things at the hospital?
Well, let's think about it. We are now in a space where all of us have to adjust, every last one of us. And what we're touting is not going back to normalcy.
Right.
We're really talking about a new norm. And this is going to be with us for a while. We've been forced to go into what others will call the digital platform or telehealth or virtual. That's the space that we now have to occupy because it's safe. But we're also finding that it's more efficient. And so we're navigating processes to make it easier for our customers to be able to access us, notwithstanding that we have to take into consideration health and safety. So we've introduced a number of safety measures within the organization to be able to make it easier for our customers to navigate the services.
From you enter the door, obviously.
From the door, and so you know, if you think about some of the things that we've put in place, from before entering the door, we've allowed for pre-registration, so persons can call in, They can get pre-registered online. They can have an itinerary of what they're going to do when they come into the institution. Certainly they're met immediately at the door with a screening, a COVID screening. And that's one, to check your temperature, ask some questions just to make sure there aren't any concerns that would cause us to want to take you into another area of the institution. And then the sanitizing occurs. We allow them to do their feet and their shoes, since we want to make sure nothing is tracked into the environment. And all this is to make it easier for our customers to be comfortable to come in and have the services they need. There, of course, the distance markers within the institution. We actually have persons who are at the door who are called navigators. And they help you move through the institution, go from point A to point B to make it easier for you. For those who want their pharmaceuticals, you can call in and we can curbside, we can bring it to you, or we can have it delivered to you. And so we're finding many, many ways to be able to make it easier for you, a number of concierge elements that we've introduced into the institution, notwithstanding, of course, being a hospital. We clean, and after we finish cleaning, we clean again.
Right, no doubt about it. Who's eligible? I mean, who's eligible to have access into the hospital? Have the visitors, requirements changed? Have the hours changed?
Sure. So in navigating this new norm, we've had to slowly introduce new services. We're pretty much operating now with all of our service lines. And so surgical, day surgeries occurring, surgical procedures occurring. Those persons, of course, go through the PCR testing prior to. We want to make sure that they're safe to be able to go into the various spaces. And so we do the screening pre. We also, of course, have opened up our pharmacy. We've opened up our lab, our imaging services, your MRI, your CT, X-ray. All of these are done, of course, with a schedule. And so these are available to our customers as well. Laboratory services as well. And of course, our emergency room never closed. And so we were always there for our customers. We did make some preliminary changes to the visitation policy. And that's important because we have a duty to do two things. One, to protect our customers. We have to do that. Secondly, we have to protect our employees. As you've been watching around the world, you notice that a lot of hospitals are being impacted by their healthcare workers are getting ill. And if they're ill, who's going to take care of the sick? And someone said a question of, is anyone getting sick with anything else other than COVID?
Yeah, I saw that. Absolutely. Yeah, you can answer that question.
So we have to make sure we take care of our customers. We don't want people sitting home knowing that they're ill and are fearful. And so we're operating in a safe environment to be able to allow them to be comfortable to come in, navigate the services of the institution. For our visitors, we've restricted visitation. We have made, on very few occasions, the opportunities for persons to visit a loved one. But for the most part, we've curtailed that because we wanted to be safe for the customer. What we have introduced is the opportunity for them to meet with their family members virtually. So we've got a virtual card that goes into the patient room. Of course, we all have WhatsApp on our cell phones, but some customers don't have that ability to do that. And so we put in a virtual card to be able to allow persons to interact, one, with their family member, but also with the caregivers. And then for those occasions where we do have to make the decision, we try to take that individual through a screening process prior to coming in and visiting with their loved one.
I imagine that's very tough because in matters of life, whether it's newborn or matters of death, where persons are in dire circumstances, to not be able to see a loved one or be there is probably a very difficult decision to make. But let's switch back to the topic of the year when we talk about COVID. I know doctors would have announced recently, obviously, the ability to now have this testing. Is it the PCR testing? This is the same, obviously, test that the Prime Minister would have referenced most recently for persons coming into the country, same type of test. There seemed to have been some confusion about this type of test versus the other antibodies. Explain that really quickly, and of course the new program that you have at Doctors Hospital for testing.
Sure. So the PCR testing is polymerase chain reaction testing, which is a standard bearer, the gold standard right now in testing for COVID-19, because it just needs small genetic markers to be able to confirm whether someone has it now. What it doesn't tell you is whether you had it some time ago. So for some of my friends who say, man, I'm sure I had COVID last November. We can't confirm that for them, but we can tell you right now. We can tell you right now. And what you're finding is a lot of hospitals do not have the ability to do this testing, and so they have to send it off to a reference lab. And CNN just recently talked about two of the major reference labs in Florida. Their results are now 7 to 10 days back because they're so inundated in that side of the world. And so for places in the Caribbean that have to send their testing there, it takes that long. We're pleased to be able to say at Doctors Hospital, we have the ability, we have the capability to do the testing. We can get our results within 24 hours for our customers. And we've tried to make it easier for them to navigate it as well. And so what we've set up at our Doctors Hospital West location on Blake Road, we have a drive-through. And it makes it so much easier. Persons can go online, they can book their test, pay for their test, drive up in matters, I say 3 minutes, you're out. Persons come under the tent, they're properly screened, and they're out of there. And within 24 hours, they get an email with their test results. Now,
excellent.
you get an email if it's negative. If it's positive, then a healthcare provider will call you. Because you send someone something that says positive and you don't answer all the other questions, that's just reckless. So we ensure that a physician, someone who can answer all the concerns you have and tell you what the next steps look like, they will call you and have that conversation with you.
Yeah, I mean, listen, there's so many things I want to talk to you about. And we're going to run out of time, but I can't let you go without talking about the LAMP program. Of course, we've had Dennis and others who have come on the show and given us details on it, but just speak to the whole philosophy about why this was introduced. Obviously, it has a little comparison to some other features of things out there. But talk to us about why this program was instituted and how's it going thus far?
I'll simplify it. I think the team that we have, they have all the specifics, but this is to make life easier for one. As we navigate again this new norm, you're finding the challenges. Your pocketbooks are not the same pocketbooks you used to have. And you have to find as many means as possible to have financial come alongside. And so this insurance supplement plan that we've offered really helps person with that out-of-pocket concern that you have. We know you have to come up with 120, 200, 2,000, 3,000. You know, we've been fighting to against the reality of, you know, when you come to Doctors Hospital, the suggestion that you got to have property, land, and
dollars,
papers, right?
Yes.
But the truth of it is, you know, we have to help you. We want to help our customers. And this simply tells a customer, when you come into Doctors Hospital, you get number one, we're going to work with you whatever your out-of-pocket max is. You pay it then, or you pay it over a period of time that is after. But what will not happen is your care will not be restricted in any way, shape, and form. And I think the beauty of the plan is you get a lot of benefits in it. You get discounts, and some things actually go away. So some of the co-payments and so forth, we actually reduce the need for those with the relationship we now have with you. So it's an interesting plan. We have some other elements to it coming along in a few months. We're not an insurance company. We're not going to do that.
You know, it's on the tips of any person's tongue, right?
But we want to make it easier for customers to be able to navigate healthcare. Your healthcare should not be sacrificed because the dollars are not there. And so we've got to work with our customers.
That's an absolutely critical point that you've made. Charles, you have to come on back another time. So much more to talk about. You know, thank you guys, obviously, for the leadership that you're showing in the midst of all of this as well.
Thank you.
And then you can let your associates know. Charles Seeley, Chief Executive Officer of the Doctors Hospital Health System.
Thank you.
Joining us here on Bahamas at Sunrise. We're going to have him back, probably talk about some Rotary things at another time. All right, watching Bahamas at Sunrise. We'll be right back.
Welcome to Doctors Hospital. As the Bahamas reopens, we at Doctors Hospital have been hard at work preparing for the new normal. The health and safety of our patients, associates, and others entering the hospital space is ever paramount and shapes the experience as you enter our facilities. All persons entering the hospital will be COVID screened, which includes a temperature check and a few short questions. There's also mandatory hand and shoe washing stations upon entry. Masks are required and can be provided if necessary. To further limit contact, Doctors Hospital has launched a concierge service that allows for pre-registration, a hospital itinerary, in-car waiting, and a navigator to guide you through your visit. Our pharmacy is now offering curbside pickup and delivery services for prescriptions as well. Social distancing markers are placed around the facility, and scheduling for imaging, including CAT scans, mammograms, and 3T MRIs. Laboratory, including our new same-day COVID-19 PCR testing, rehabilitation, and other services, has also been adjusted. Doctors Hospital is here to serve you with the same quality and care that you've come to expect, even as we enter a new normal. Now, more than ever, Doctors Hospital continues to be trusted and best care now. Isn't your health worth it?
Business in the Box is your solution for business from Cable Bahamas. It's an internet, voice, mobile, and advertising solution all in one place. Get reliable internet, free domestic call, and a live corporate package, and free TV ad placement, all starting with packages as low as $164 a month. You can save over $3,000 a year. Just call 601-8911. That's 601-8911. And ask for Business in a Box from Cable Bahamas Business Solution. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome back. This week, the 8th annual Andros Business Outlook is taking place at the campus of BAMSI North Andros on July 24th. This year's Outlook is taking place under the theme of a new era, resilience in the face of vulnerability. And one of our speakers for this year's Outlook is Dominic Petty, the Director for Northern Bahamas, Cable Bahamas. I say that's kind of like a little tongue twister. Good morning and welcome to Bahamas at Sunrise, Mr. Petty.
Hi, good morning, Gandhi. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's wonderful to have you, actually. So tell us, what is the topic of your presentation at this year's Andros Business Outlook?
Well, my topic will be best practices for business and technology post-COVID-19.
Okay, that's wonderful. And why did you decide to speak on this topic? What do you hope will be achieved?
Well, one of the reasons why we decided Cable Bahamas Business Solutions is that we're very excited to be a part of the Business Outlook series, and especially in particular the island of Andros is definitely something that we're proud to be partners with TCL Group. But we at Cable Bahamas totally support and believe in these type of seminars where we get information out of persons, and whether in persons or online, especially in this type of environment, to find out what's going on in their respective islands and our country and the world, so they'll be better able to thrive, especially during these times.
I like that word, thrive. I mean, you say especially during this time, because technology is so important, and that's how we're communicating right now. I want to know, how does this topic, though, relate to Andros specifically?
Well, Andros has a very unique offering. It has boutique accommodations, ecotourism and agritourism. And a lot of persons rightly term Andros as the sleeping giant. And we believe that Andros has some very attractive offerings, both for international and domestic travelers. And so the whole idea is for Andros residents to be aware of many of the things that we have to offer and some of the best practices that we do use in technology.
Yeah, I think you kind of answered my next question just a little bit. I was going to ask about, despite the uncertainty surrounding the country with a second wave of cases, and we just heard the Prime Minister. Why do you think it is even more important? I want to continue to stress that point.
Absolutely. I know a lot of persons think about COVID-19 in terms of when it will over, but the whole idea is for us to plan to live during COVID-19, and I believe that we do have the solutions, some of the solutions for persons to be able to thrive and live through COVID-19.
What ways in particular has COVID affected business itself and technology?
Well, one of the things is COVID-19 has placed the pressure on a lot of businesses to kind of pivot, to adjust, to think about their business model, to transform the way that we actually do business. And I think it's important for us to make plans now, even at this point in the game, to change, to transform digitally. I think it's very important.
Yeah, I think so too. I think everybody's best friend right now is Zoom. And the funniest part, you see the people trying to find out how to mute their mic, how to respond privately in chats. Okay, so how can we find out more about the Andros Business Outlook?
You can definitely find out more about the Andros Business Outlook. You can go to TCL Group, their website. provides a lot of information with regards to Andros, and you will actually see the list of all of the speakers and a lot of things that is important to that particular event.
Yeah, and I want to know a little bit more about Cable Bahamas, the specific things that Cable Bahamas is doing, especially in Andros.
Well, as it relates to Cable Bahamas as a whole, well, we just recently launched our brand new website. It's www.rev.bs. Very simple website for anyone to remember. In addition, we also have just launched our summer campaign. It's a trio summer staycation, where persons will have an opportunity to visit one of the family islands, and they just might have the opportunity to visit the beautiful island of Andros. From a corporate standpoint, we do offer business in a box, and what business in the box is a combination of internet, voice, mobile, and advertisement all in one package. So businesses will have the opportunity to be able to purchase that particular package. As it relates to Andros specifically, we do have some things in the pipeline that I won't mention at this time as it relates to Andros and the other family islands for that matter. But persons do have the opportunity to utilize our app, which is the RevGo Play app.
Right.
So once you are a Cable Bahamas subscriber, you can go on your phone and be able to watch TV wherever you are.
Well, you are living your message. You are living your topic, and I am so excited about the Andros Business Outlook. Hopefully, I get flued out, and I'll be there with TCL. But thank you so much for joining us on Bahamas at Sunrise. That staycation definitely caught my attention, and yeah, we really appreciate you, Mr. Petty.
Thank you too.
All right, everyone. Thank you for watching Bahamas at Sunrise. We'll be right back after this.
As disruptive technologies go, nothing has shaken up the economy more than the smartphones. Apps have completely changed the way we book taxi rides, accommodation, and food delivery. Business sectors that previously had no digital footprint are now synonymous with technology. While names like Uber, Lyft, Airbnb, Just Eat, and Deliveroo are household names around the world, on-demand business touches many other areas of life. Enterprises are trying to find ways to engage users to their services. Businesses will be forced to connect with their customers with a personalized effect. The complex user behavior needs to be tackled with enhanced conversation and better engagement. Though each of the on-demand business is different, there are elements of commonality which forms the basis of technology stack. Business and entrepreneurs just need to focus on their business operations, not technology. JungleWorks is providing complete tech stack on subscription model to help businesses grow.
Welcome back to Bahamas at Sunrise. Urology Care. We have the good doctor back in the house, Dr. Gregory Pinto. We're talking about UTIs. That's something that we hear all the time, but it's called urinary tract infections. Of course, they can stem from misinformation, rumor, myths, all these different types of things. But we've got the man himself on the show to kind of break it down once again for us, Doc. Let's start with the basic definition. What is a UTI?
Well, first I'll say thank you for having me, Philip. Good morning, Bahamas, and I always have to say
Absolutely.
good morning to my daughter, Gia.
How old is she now?
Oh, she's 4 years old.
She's 4 years old.
She's 4 years
You
old.
know, obviously the apple of daddy's eye.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, so a urinary tract infection is basically bacteria within the urinary tract. And the urinary tract is more than just the bladder. For example, for a man, you can get infections from your prostate to your urethra to prostate, kidney, so it can go anywhere within the system itself.
Okay.
It's a debilitating disorder, particularly for women. As many as 1 in 3 women have recurrent urinary tract infections. So if you have a urinary tract infection at one time in your life, you're likely within 2 years, as often as 30% chance of getting it again.
Okay.
And this thing can actually take hold of your life. So the bladder is controlling your life. It reaches a point where severe cases is like you're urinating and you're passing razor blades. So you're afraid to urinate.
Right, right.
Not only are you going to have burning or discomfort in your bladder or down there when you urinate, you can have urinary urgency, frequency. So you can be urinating as often as every 15 minutes, day and night. So you're not getting a good night's sleep. It's affecting you socially, professionally. So my take-home message always when I come out and do public talks is you don't have to have the bladder or any urinary issue affect you or control your life, whether you're a child, whether you're male or female. So there's a misconception that every time you have a little bit of burning, it has to be related to a urinary tract infection. It can be not only, it can be a urinary tract infection, it can be something as simple as referred pain. So if you have discomfort down there, it doesn't necessarily mean that the pain originates there. You can have something like a kidney stone. You can have something going on in your bowel. For women, it can be related to, in the pelvic area, uterine fibroids. You can have pain from your ovaries, particularly during your menses. So not every discomfort down there is actually related to a urinary tract infection. And just because you're peeing urgently or frequently, and many times it's because you're not emptying your bladder completely. For a man, particularly middle-aged men, it's related more likely to an enlarged prostate. Statistically, it's related probably more to a benign, non-cancerous enlargement of prostate. So once you're 70 years old, probably 70% of men have an enlarged prostate that's going to prevent them from emptying their bladder completely. And they know it. They go to the bathroom, 15 minutes later, they got to go again. So men and women are afraid to have a glass of water when they go out. They can't sit in church because they're afraid of the embarrassment of every 15 minutes they got to go and urinate. So don't try and take your neighbor or your cousin's antibiotics and just go through that cycle over and over and over. In many cases, it's not even related to a urinary tract infection.
But if you talk about you say it originates with a bacteria, correct?
Yes.
You know, what causes that bacteria?
So women are predisposed to urinary tract infections anatomically because they have a shorter urethra than men, because anatomically the anus where they have normal bacteria and flora is very close to the vagina and the urethra. So the transmission of even normal bacteria into the urethra and into the bladder is very easy. Not only that, as women get older, they enter menopause, they're going to have low estrogen levels, they're going to have a weakness in the pelvic musculature. They're not going to be able to contract and empty their bladder completely, so they're walking around with a pool of urine day in and day out. There's going to be a proliferation of bacteria. That's going to predispose them to urinary tract infections as well. Antibiotics, the more common antibiotics, Augmentin, ciprofloxacin, we all take them for urinary tract infection. In the community, the resistance rate is as high as 40%. So you can live your life on Augmentin. If it happens that the bacteria that is present is resistant to Augmentin, you'll never completely get over that urinary tract infection. It may calm down. It might come back with a vengeance in 2 months. It's more than likely it's the same infection that just we never got rid of. So anytime you have a urinary tract infection, as a urologist, as my physician colleagues will do, we need to send a urine for culture. We're going to determine in the lab which bacteria are present, which antibiotics it's resistant to, which it's sensitive to, so that we know which antibiotics to prescribe you to get rid of the infection completely.
If it goes untreated?
You can have scarring within your bladder. You can have, if you're not emptying your bladder, you can have back pressure on your kidneys. That can lead to acute kidney injury. That can lead to scarring of your kidneys. So you know your body. If you're not in control of your bladder, if you're not in control of urinary issues, it's something that you need to address. Just do not ignore it.
But how do you then prevent it? I mean, as a man?
Good
or-
hygiene.
okay,
Good hygiene.
okay.
Obviously, we teach our daughters, our granddaughters
yeah.
to
How to
wipe
yeah.
and what direction to wipe.
Mhm.
We also want to make sure that even for sexual activity, it's advocated that you want to, if it's just before and even after, you take a shower.
Okay.
Obviously, if you do have a urinary tract infection, we need to determine, is there a functional reason or is there an anatomical reason that's predisposing you to get urinary tract infection? It's very common for women to get urinary tract infections at some time in their life. But if they're getting current, debilitating episodes of urinary tract infections, we need to address it. If men are getting it, which is even rarer, are you emptying your bladder? If you're not emptying your bladder, is there a reason for it? There's an overwhelming number of cases of diabetes in this country.
Right.
You can get a condition called diabetic cystopathy, where the nerves are impaired. You're not able to, functionally, you're not able to empty and contract your bladder, and you're going to get urinary stasis, increased urinary tract infections. So you may be an undiagnosed diabetic, keep getting this urinary tract infection. That might be the first sign that you're a diabetic. So let's treat the patient as a whole.
Okay.
Let's determine exactly why you get urinary tract infections or why you have urinary urgency or frequency, and let's get you back your quality of life.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, you talked about the symptom early on, burning. Is that the primary indicator that something's wrong? And when do you actually go and see a physician? The minute you have some type of discomfort?
Anytime you find that it's affecting your quality of life.
Okay.
If all of a sudden you're peeing urgently, frequently, you not necessarily have to have burning when you pee. You may have bladder discomfort. That might be a sign that you have a bladder infection, a cystitis. You might have pain in your flank. You might have kidney pain. You might, if you're a male, you might have pain in your perineum. That's the small area between your anus and your scrotum.
Wow.
That will be related to infection of your prostate. So urinary tract infections can manifest themselves in different locations, from your kidneys, your flanks, to your suprapubic area, your bladder, to down there in your urethra, or in the area of your vagina, or even in your perineum for men as well.
Well, I'll tell you what, so don't ignore pain, don't
Never.
ignore discomfort.
No.
All right, listen, thank you so much.
Thank you
Dr.
for having
Gregory
me.
Pinto, urologist, Urology Care, Bahamas. What's the email address or telephone number again?
Well, I have a website, Urology
Website.
Care Bahamas, and I've moved out one of my offices. I'm always at Blake Road at Family Medicine Center, but I'm at Oak Tree Medical Center, which is 5th Terrace in Mount Royal, and number there is 322-1145.
Excellent, thank you so much.
Thank you,
Dr.
Philip.
Gregory Pinto, urologist at Urology Care Bahamas. You're watching Bahamas at Sunrise. We'll be right back.
Good afternoon. First response. How can I help you?
I've been in an accident on West Bay Street. Can you send someone to help?
Yes, ma'am. A first response team will be there in 15 minutes. Are you hurt?
No, I'm fine, but a bit upset.
We're glad you're not hurt. Please, try to relax. Our team will take care of everything as soon as they arrive.
First Response provides immediate on-site service and support from the scene of an accident through the claims and repair process. And it's free to all Bahamas First insured drivers in New Providence, every day for any type of accident. If you drive and want first response on your side, call 32-FIRST or visit bahamasfirst.com for the name of an authorized Bahamas First agent. First response can't prevent an accident from happening.
But it can certainly ease your mind when it happens.
Business in the Box is your solution for business from Cable Bahamas. It's an internet, voice, mobile, and advertising solution all in one place. Get reliable internet, free domestic call, and a live corporate package, and free TV ad placement, all starting with packages as low as $164 a month. You can save over $3,000 a year. Just call 601-8911. That's 601-8911. And ask for Business in a Box from Cable Bahamas Business Solutions. Terms and conditions apply.
TCL Group and Cable Bahamas Business Solutions presents the 8th annual Andros Business Outlook, Friday, July 24th, BAMSI, North Andros, 8:30 a.m. Under the theme, A New Era, Resilience in the Face of Vulnerability. Speakers include the Honorable Ramal Ferrero, Minister of Environment and Housing, Ravina Robertsano, Peter Douglas, Cheryl Bastian, Dominic Petty, Dennis DeVoe, Robert Pantry, and Alonzo Hinsey. Register online at tclevents.com.
Welcome back to Bahamas at Sunrise. We're at the midway point of a Monday edition. I'm Philip Simon.
I'm Candy Pinder. Monday feels good, Phil. I'm happy to be on Bahamas at Sunrise, and I get to be with this amazing team.
Listen, happy to have you. Always great having you around, Gandhi. It's been interesting, and I say that I use that word all the time.
Yeah. But it's true.
But it's so true, right?
It is,
I mean,
yeah.
and in fact, we were talking with Charles Seeley earlier about Doctors Hospital. In fact, we're gonna keep him.
Yes.
Yes.
When you got Charles Seeley, you gotta keep him in the building.
So we're gonna have Charles again talk
and this time,
more about.
I'll get to speak to him.
You get to talk to him about Rotary, right?
Yes.
It's such an
he's
important
the new
organization.
district governor.
District governor for the Caribbean. So a lot of things have been happening. Obviously, Rotary is a very, I mean, it's an awesome organization, not just here in the Bahamas, but around the world. And they have excellent leaders like Charles and Felix and Barry, and the list can go on and on. And
Service
they're doing
above
great things.
self.
Service above self.
It's important during this time. Yeah.
We've got more to come.
We've got more to come. Do you know what Godfrey Burnside said?
What did he say?
And I don't think you heard it because you were in transition. He said today is going to feel like 103 degrees.
Oh.
And the next.
All that rain this morning?
Yeah. So it's going to be about 90 degrees, but he said it's going to feel like 103 degrees, right? Yeah. Then he also asked him the next time we talked to him about the man who was riding the lightning bolts.
Godfrey? We're gonna try and minimize these.
We got a birthday shout out.
We got a birthday shout out. Yeah, okay. 80th, right? 80th birthday.
80 years.
She's giving a shout out to her dad, Godfrey Bannister. Happy birthday, sir.
That's a blessing.
That
and my
is a
cousin
blessing.
LeVard Williams celebrated yesterday as well too. I mean, you're the birthday guy now.
We're gonna talk.
We
We're
need
gonna
the
talk about
confetti.
this lightning thing a little bit later.
confetti.
Listen, we've got Merit Store Managing Partner Providence Law, and Nadia Wright Partner Providence Law. They're going to be here regarding the talk to us about the extension of the emergency powers by Parliament, and also again, Charles, get to talk to him.
Yeah,
about
that's gonna be so much fun. So I'm looking forward to it.
And he's got a lot of stuff on her mind. I don't know if she can do this show to Godfrey Burnside for the weather.
Well, I absolutely can do that. Ladies and gentlemen, it's the Godfrey Burnside turning up the heat right here on Bahamas at Sunrise.
Weather at Sunrise, brought to you by Bahamas First. First in insurance, today, tomorrow.
Thank you. Thank you, Gandhi in Bahamas. Yes, second look at weather, sunrise. Yes, it's the over man. And yes, second look at weather, sunrise, the tropics first. And we do have two systems we're monitoring: an active tropical wave moving through the central Bahamas and central Cuba. That should move into the Gulf of Mexico in early tomorrow morning. And 20% chance of formation over the next 5 days. And then to the east, to the west of the Cape Verde Islands, we have another active tropical wave moving toward the west over the next 5 days. That also has a 20% chance of development. Elsewhere, tropical storm formation expected during the next 5 days. On the local scene, yes, that same tropical wave is going to go into the Gulf of Mexico. It's creating all the showers and thunderstorms to the northwest Bahamas at this particular times. As a matter of fact, a whole lot of thunderstorms across the province area early this morning. And we have some troughing that will cause occasional cloudy periods with some showers and thunderstorms. In the marine forecast today, those winds easterly at 15-20 knots, seas 4 to 6 feet over all areas. Then on Tuesday, those winds pick up east to southeast at 15-20 knots over areas. And then on Wednesday, go back easterly, but those winds dropping off 15 knots, seas 3 to 5 feet. Yeah, tides. You can expect a high tide at 8:08 this morning. Next low tide be at 2:12 this afternoon. High gain this evening at 8:38. Sunset 8:01 this evening. Rises tomorrow morning at 6:32. UV index 8. Your water temperature 81 degrees Fahrenheit. And the moon phase, no moon. External look, you're going to keep variable cloudiness throughout the weekend, but increasing cloudiness coming late Thursday into Friday. So you have another wave moving through the area with some showers and thunderstorms. Temperature daytime will be around the 90-degree mark. At nighttime in the upper 70s. That puts a wrap on your fun look at weather at sunrise. I'm Godfrey Burnside. Back to you, Gandhi.
Thank you so much, Godfrey. I am just having a time this morning, but guess what? We get to speak with Mr. Charles Seeley once again. You are the newly appointed district governor of the Caribbean for Rotary. That's amazing.
I'm more than humbled and thankful.
You're not just appointed, you are appointed, elected, and installed. So,
Absolutely.
yeah, so it's great to continue with you on Bahamas at Sunrise. So we know that Rotary is dedicated to service above self. And during this season, that is more important than ever, right?
Absolutely. So I'm thankful to be given the opportunity July 1 of this year into next year, June 30th, of course, to serve as the district governor for 10 countries in the Caribbean. That's about 16 islands. I have under my remit 85 clubs, Rotary clubs, but we partner with Rotaract clubs as well, really dynamic individuals, a little bit more youthful, have a lot of fire, and there's about 52 of those clubs. And we've even taken it into the school system where we have Interact clubs, and we have at the primary school level Early Act clubs. So what we're trying to foster is the whole notion of giving back. Everyone has the understanding that they have a responsibility, that no matter how much we absorb, we have a responsibility to give back. And so it's awesome.
I'm intrigued by that, even when you said Early Act. And it would be so, I think, interesting to find out like the different synergies and how all of that would work, especially during this age of technology. So what is your theme this year for Rotary?
So the theme under the Rotary International president, Holger Knack, who's from Germany, is Rotary Opens Opportunities. And it's a reminder to us that the many things that the world confronts, Rotary is there. And so we look to come alongside whenever there's an issue. So we look at COVID-19, which is the newest discussional point, and Rotary has come alongside, whether providing medical supplies for our healthcare workers.
Yes.
A number of Rotary clubs have actually made it easier for young persons to be able to continue their education virtually by providing them with the laptops or the tablets to be able to assist. One club here in the Bahamas was able to provide internet services so that students can be able to access their classrooms, their virtual classrooms. So there are a number of opportunities that present themselves, and when they do, Rotary is there.
Man, come on, man. You're just like a commercial. You can't be that good at on point with this stuff. Okay, so I was going to ask you how that pretty much is manifested, but you just basically answered that. I'm interested to know about your day-to-day responsibilities and how you interact with these people around the Caribbean.
So one of the things I work to do is to create, first of all, where are we going? And I had a wonderful time with our team from February of this year working on the plan on what is it that we're going to execute this year. And while Rotary International has given us certain things that we're going to be responsible for, I've steered the team to say, you know, within all of our territories, there's basically two things I want you to focus on. One is the environment. We have a responsibility to Mother Earth. We ought to take care, and those of us in the Caribbean know how we've already been beaten by storms, and we have to take care of planet Earth. The second one is, and this is before COVID-19, was to talk about health. We look at diabetes prevention, and we know that it is a concern around us in terms of the health of our population. This was started from last year from the previous governor, and I've intended to continue it. But this year we're also adding one more part.
Okay, see Chelly now, Chelly always teases me when I say, oh my gosh, that gave me goosebumps. But number one, I like that you said vision and plan. Number two, I like that you spoke about continuity. And number three, I like that you're talking about non-communicable diseases because that really does affect us here in the Bahamas and all around the Caribbean. So that's really powerful. What about the Bahamas? What is the Bahamas doing? How's Rotary in the Bahamas looking?
So all the Rotary clubs will have this as a part of their mandate, but all of the Rotary clubs are autonomous. So each of them would sit and determine their specific community, identify the needs of your community. So we ask the clubs to do two things. One, do a health check. Make sure everything is okay within your club and your membership. Secondly, know what's the community around you and what are their needs. So even as a governor, while I would ask them to focus on certain things, what I really want them to focus on are the things that are going to impact the communities that surrounds them. And so those clubs in the Bahamas are doing the same thing.
This is an intriguing model for how things should be done in a lot of different areas and businesses. I really am fascinated. Now, when we were talking before we came on air, when you spoke about the theme, and you said, okay, we look at opportunities one way, and then we look at opportunities another way. Bring it together for us.
Sure. So Rotary Opens Opportunities, which is a fantastic theme, a certain reminder for the clubs to look for what are the concerns around you that you need to be able to impact. then opportunities open Rotary. This gives us a way of looking at life in a totally new way. One, we've never had this so much virtual interaction that we have today.
Right.
I visited the world in a matter of moments, and so embracing those opportunities that now can take Rotary to another level. So growing through this process is what we're looking to accomplish.
When did you join Rotary, and what do you think Rotary has given you? What is the most outstanding thing or experience you've had with the organization?
In the shortest time, I'll tell you, I got introduced to Rotary by a gentleman by the name of Ednell Smith. He took me to what he said was going to be lunch, and we went to L.W. Young to a pair leadership opportunity. It was dealing with at-risk kids, and I realized immediately where I could bring support. From there, everything is history. Rotary did one thing for me. It said to Charles, you already have the passion to help. Now, let's bring the resources together to let you help more. Because there's only so much I can do as an individual. But when I interconnect with like-minded people who can bring all those resources to the table, we can do so much more.
You see Chris Tucker giving me the signals, but you see we still, you know. Yeah. But quick. What if people want to join? How do we get involved?
So first thing is there are 9 Rotary clubs in the Bahamas. You can look in the phone book, their phone contacts are there, and come and visit us in one of our meetings or join us in one of our projects. And you don't have to be in Rotary to be a part of Rotary. And so we invite persons as the community, as we are doing these projects, come out and join us so we can do great things together.
So we can do great things together. Hey, that's the theme and that's the slogan. And there's more coming up right here on Bahamas at Sunrise. Thank you so much.
Do you want to know more about the scriptures, the early Christian church, its teachings, suffering, other religions, the authenticity of the Bible? The Anglican Theological Institute is for you. Enroll in a 3-year certificate program. Classes are conducted from NASA and Freeport on Saturday mornings. Don't miss a class. Stay connected anytime, anywhere, with high-speed internet. Contact us at 603-2481. Visit our Facebook page. Pick up an application form at any Anglican church or at Addington House on Sands Road. The Anglican Theological Institute is for you.
Welcome back to Bahamas at Sunrise. On May 28th, Parliament passed an extension to the emergency powers in the Bahamas until June 29th. Of course, there was some back and forth, some confusion regarding that. We are very happy to have in the studio joining us once again, Merit Store Managing Partner, Providence Law, and Adia Wright. She's back. Welcome back to Bahamas at Sunrise. So much has been happening over the last several months, of course, as a result of COVID. The extension that happened for this month, there's probably a really good chance that we're going to be extending that even further. But Nadia, if you don't mind, explain why the Governor General had to issue this new proclamation.
Sure. So what had happened is on the 30th of June, there was a new proclamation issued further to an oversight by the government, which failed to extend by resolution the initial proclamation, which, as you stated before, would have expired at midnight on June 29th. So the recently passed resolution now means the restart of a 6-month state of emergency period for our country, pursuant to Article 29 of the Constitution.
6 months?
Yes, it's a 6-month period.
When we talk about this extension of the emergency orders, you know, the question is always, is it lawful and is it justified, which may be two different things.
Yeah, it's I guess there may be some question about procedurally what occurred in terms of how the order was expired, how it expired, and then how the new proclamation was issued. So some attorneys have been discussing it, but ostensibly, I don't think anybody's going to challenge it.
Okay.
So yes, it is legally enforced, and the question of is it justifiable? Well, we have a resurgence in cases, and I think the order was extended in the event that we had some fallback, and unfortunately, we've had a fallback.
The competent authority obviously has a lot of powers at his disposal. Can we elaborate exactly on what those powers are and whether or not we can still expect possible lockdowns and curfews reinstated?
Sure. So the competent authority would have had the power to cause restriction of movement by virtue of curfews and lockdowns. Those powers that were exercised under the previous proclamation have now been reinstated. So as you would have seen, even as recent as yesterday, the competent authority would have foreshadowed exactly what measures have been taken now to try to curb the resurgence that Merritt had just mentioned. So the powers have all been reinstated to be able to issue lockdowns, curfews, and to restrict movement in the interest of public health.
When you were here last time, we talked about how the emergency orders appear to give the competent authority or the Prime Minister dictatorial powers, like the decisions obviously to close the beaches on a holiday weekend. Is this a restriction of our fundamental rights based on the Constitution? Is it legal? I mean, you know, again, there's a lot of conversation relative to this, and there appears to be some confusion.
Sure. It's definitely a restriction of our fundamental rights. I mean, as the Constitution makes provision for. There's no doubt about that. However, the Constitution also makes provision under Article 29 for emergency powers under certain conditions. One of those is a public health emergency. Also war, natural disasters, and things of that nature. But we are under a public health emergency. And so the article has been activated. It's been done by resolution, et cetera, the proclamation of the Governor General. And so we are bound by this emergency order as the Constitution makes allowance for under specific circumstances. Now, I guess the issue will arise is if we continue to extend it and extend it and extend it, and we determine that the public health emergency is passed, then questions begin to arise.
And then when you say we determine, I mean, who will determine whether or not the public emergency still exists? I guess that's one of the questions we can talk about. You know, so it was extended until the end of July, which is another week and a half. It's fast approaching. What happens then? And can Parliament then pass legislation instead of continuing to extend the emergency powers of the competent authority?
Well, Merritt touched on it. Again, what has happened is that we are aware that it's likely to be an extension further to the Prime Minister's address yesterday. Now, again, we're in a period, a 6-month period by virtue of Article 29. It allows it for a 6-month period, and resolutions are passed to ensure that there are no expirations. But what will likely be a challenge is if, like Merritt said, if it appears that the public emergency has been quelled and you have extension upon extension, then private citizens have a right to address
Right.
the situation.
Yeah, and that's where the politics will come in.
And that's where the politics
that
will
answers
come
the
in.
question of who is we.
Yeah.
Well, who is we? COVID-19 obviously has affected the work of the courts. I don't know to what extent. Maybe you can elaborate a little bit on that. And is our system of justice still working, in your opinion?
Well, Nadia is the litigator in our partnership, and so she probably know even better than I. But the courts are functioning again.
Okay.
I don't think it's returned to pre-COVID conditions.
Right.
But they are functioning again. There's more use of technology. There's a lot of video hearings, video conferences, etc. And so the courts are trying to adapt to the new normal, per se. And I guess depending on what happens going forward, whether we have any further pullback, the courts may have to respond accordingly. But yes, the courts are functioning, but there are some limitations, and you know, the social distancing, etc., is creating some issues. But the courts are trying their best to use technology to work around it.
Yeah, I was about to say, I mean, with the technology, doesn't it provide an opportunity to maybe address some of the constant backloads we've talked about? I mean, does everything have to be in person?
Well, what my experience has been thus far is that the judges are making use, and the registrars are making use of the ability to conduct hearings by video conferencing.
Okay.
And so far, it's been a smooth process. And hopefully it will help to prevent any buildup of matters that have not been disposed of. In terms of a backlog, I'm not sure if it's addressing exactly that, but what it is appearing to address is prevention of a buildup of matters that were initially in the system that were waiting for dates. Now they're being assigned dates, and those that could be heard by video conferencing are being heard.
Okay, excellent. Listen, thank you guys once again for being here on Bahamas at Sunrise. Good to see you. I think this might have been the first time for the year, eh?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Merritt.
Thank you.
Always
Always
good
a
to see you,
pleasure.
my friend.
Okay.
You're watching Bahamas at Sunrise. We'll be right back.
One thing, two things. Blue thing, all things. Things that are small, things that are grand, things that fit just right, and in the palm of your hand. Fox Hill Nursery, a large selection of garden supplies. If you can see it in your mind, you can find it at Fox Hill Nursery.
Business in the Box is your solution for business from Cable Bahamas. It's an internet, voice, mobile, and advertising solution all in one place. Get reliable internet, free domestic call, and a live corporate package, and free TV ad placement, all starting with packages as low as $164 a month. You can save over $3,000 a year. Just call 601-8911. That's 601-8911. And ask for Business in a Box from Cable Bahamas Business Solutions. Terms and conditions apply.
TCL Group and Cable Bahamas Business Solutions presents the 8th annual Andros Business Outlook, Friday, July 24th, BAMSI, North Andros, 8:30 a.m. Under the theme, A New Era, Resilience in the Face of Vulnerability. Speakers include the Honorable Ramal Ferrero, Minister of Environment and Housing, Ravina Roberts-Hanna, Peter Douglas, Cheryl Bastian, Dominic Petty, Dennis DeVoe, Robert Pantry, and Alonzo Hinsey. Register online at tclevents.com.
Well, that's going to do it for this edition of Bahamas at Sunrise. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for joining us. But I wanted to talk about how the gyms are open and the beaches are closed.
And you're going to start off.
And how we're on CNN.
You're going to start a great debate if we just don't have time for that this morning. But I get your point, no doubt about it. So many different ways. But the bottom line is, I think COVID is here to stay, and I think we're just going to have to, like with the flu or anything, we're going to have to learn how to live with it.
Yeah. And on CNN and stuff, they're talking about the Bahamas, how we closed our borders. My dad used to say, any publicity is good publicity once they spell your name right.
As long as they can come here, right?
I'm inspired by the show today. Thank you, Phil.
Yes, I am too. Have a wonderful week. Continue to be safe. I mean, obviously, we're living in very dynamic times and everything's changing, and hopefully we can adapt as well.
Have a blessed day.
All right.
Absolutely.